Men, what was the most awkward thing to happen at the urinal? Me and my friend drove across country once for a concert when we were 16. We were stuck outside waiting in line, and we were clearly the youngest people there by a good 5 years, so we were trying to act super mature in conversations and stuff. We went across the street to take a piss in a grocery store bathroom with a bunch of other concert goers, and some massive gangster-looking motherfucker walks in, picture Thundercat mixed with Ving Rhames, goes damn, gotta piss like a motherfucker, and when he gets up to the urinal next to me, he lets out the squeakiest little fart that lasted like 15 seconds, went through 7 different octaves, and echoed through the entire bathroom. I swear I tried to hold it in, but eventually the guy on the other side of me started cracking up and I did too. Everybody in there left that bathroom cry laughing. I was in a club once and saw a guy I knew at the end urinal. There were 3. I went to the opposite end, of course. He was ridiculously drunk, so drunk he didn't see me come in or say hey guy's name, and what he proceeded to do shocked me to this day. My man stood there eyes closed urinating, took his left hand and put his hand down the back of his jeans, swiped his butt like a credit card, then sniffed hard on his fingers. You might think that's bad, however he then took the same hand, squeezed it down the front of his jeans and sniffed even harder. The worst part was that on each grand inhale he was groaning incredibly loud. He managed all of this whilst peeing, by the way, didn't spill a drop. To this day he doesn't know I saw it, he most likely still does it, and I get a great big kick out of seeing him knowing what I know, seeing what I have seen. At a rest stop when I was a teenager. Older guy just kinda hanging around the bathroom. Some friends and I were on a trip home and friend's boyfriend and I had to go. The rest stop was empty other than us. We walk in and this guy follows us in. I whip my dick out and start pissing and realize this guy is at the urinal next to me. I then feel his gaze on my penis, look over and this dude is staring at like he's trying to make it levitate. I was so uncomfortable. lol. I was not great at advocating for myself at that age, so I just zipped up and hurried out of there. Well, my buddy was taking a shit in the stall. He told me once we were in the car that he realized when I left the bathroom he thought, fuck, I hope this guy isn't peeping through the crack of the stall looking at me. So he fixed his eyes to be able to see out of that thin area the cheap American stalls have and sees this old gray beard just licking his lips watching him shit. When they made eye contact, the dude got spooked and ran out of the bathroom. The experience didn't weird me out that much consciously, but for years after I got stage fright every time I had to use a urinal when someone else was next to me. If it was a crowded event and the bathrooms were packed, forget about it. I was at a Dayton Flyers basketball game as a fan of the visiting team, wearing visiting team gear. Halftime, long line because of beer. I'm next to go and a Flyers fan rushes in carrying his kid and jumps the line in front of me. I say get in line like everyone else. Guy says the kid really has to go. I say so do one and one, been waiting in line like a civil person. Guy proceeds to curse me out, with his kid next to his face and says wait until I have a kid and I'll understand. I just shrug and take my rightful spot at the urinal without a regret. Guess what, Flyer guy? I've had a kid, now, and know how to manage bathroom breaks so the kid isn't in an emergency situation. It's called parenting, something you should have studied instead of watermelon coitus. It's a thing at U Dayton. In sum, the urinal is a microcosm of society, a lot of dicks just hanging out. This guy with a kid thinks he can waltz in and jump the line. Fuck that. In case women aren't aware, it's common courtesy whenever possible to leave an empty urinal between you and another guy. Well, the first one happened at a baseball game where there was no room for that because the line was out the door. Just as I started to pee, I noticed that the guy next to me was trying to jerk off into the urinal. The second one was in a strip club. I was just starting to pee when a stripper came up behind me, reached around and grabbed my junk. The problem ensued because I have a large bladder and a large urethra, which causes me to pee like a fire hose. When she grabbed my junk, she raised it up so instead of pointing down at the bottom of the urinal, and it was now pointing it back at the urinal and splashing back on both of us. She immediately yelled, "What the fuck?" and let go. I didn't know what to say. I was embarrassed because I had peed all over her hand, but also very annoyed because she had caused me to pee all over my pants. Before I could say anything, she yelled, "God damn it," grabbed some paper towels and stormed out of the bathroom. After I finished peeing, the bathroom attendant just shook his head and handed me a towel. Prior to this incident, I hadn't had any interaction whatsoever with this stripper. So I was taken by surprise with the whole incident. I went to the cinemas and had to go pee mid-movie. At the same time I walked out, so did another older man mid-50s. Went to the same toilet. There were only 3 urinals and he decided to use the one right next to me instead of the customary 1 urinal away rule. We never looked at each other, but as he started peeing he went off like a fire hydrant, aiming at the top of the urinal. Splashback was landing on my shoes and pants as well as his own shoes and pants. I didn't say a thing as I was in shock. He never said a thing and he just walked out without washing his hands or anything, as if walking around with piss all over himself and most likely all over his hands and arms was just a normal everyday thing. I had to spend the next few minutes trying my hardest to soap and sanitize the living hell out of my pants, shoes and the door handle that he used. As I walked out there was a puddle big enough for Peppa Pig to play jumping in pissy puddles with. Poor cleaners don't get paid enough. Was in basic training and got woke in the middle of the night to take a drug test. As I was in line, I was telling some of my friends who's gonna be the first one to not be able to piss. My turn. I walked up to the urinal with a cup. I couldn't get going quick. The 6th drill sergeant behind is yelling at me, "Are you a sissy private? Do you need to sit down?" Opens all the faucets to run all water, thinking that would help me. 2 minutes later, he's yelling, he ain't got all night to spend in the bathroom with me. Then continues on saying, "The minute I set eyes on you, when you walked through that door, I knew your scared ass wasn't gonna be able to piss. It's a shame the army let me enlist." Then brought in another drill sergeant to roast me in the bathroom as I do push-ups on the bathroom floor. He then kicked me out to the lounge area and passed me off to another Asian drill sergeant where about 60 privates are all lined up waiting to piss. That drill sergeant then made me down 2 bottles of water and told me with an Asian accent to walk like a duck around the lounge area, which are walking squats. As I'm doing that, he's making all the other privates yell squish every time I squat down. This shit went on for about an hour and downing a bottle of water every 15 minutes. At the end, as I need to piss so bad, I was begging to let me piss in that cup. Thank you, drill sergeant.